put the spotlight on Paras Defense as well. The company has entered into a joint venture with an Israeli company, Controp Precision Technologies, to create opportunities in the Indian and global defense sector. Let's discuss that, the order book position, and lots more with Amit and Mahajan, who is the director at Paras Defense and Technologies. Good to have you on board. To begin with, let's talk about this JV. Can you give us a little bit more in terms of the specifics and what it brings to the table for Paras Defense?
Good morning. Firstly, thank you for having me on the show. This JV, Controp Precision Technologies, is one of the world's leading company in EOIR systems. And these EOIR systems are meant for various platforms along with land, navy, avionics, at the same time also aerospace, which includes UAVs and drones. So, Paras is in the area of optics, where we would want to, and we are in the process of making drone cameras. A JV with Controp only enhances the technology that we would have, and also it makes us world ready. Together, Controp and Paras would not just make these kind of cameras for UAVs and drones in India, but also would be looking at exports from India, which are manufactured in India.
How are you looking at the progress of the pact with the R&D laboratory as well?
These kind of cameras will also bring in new cutting-edge technologies, which will fuel the current development which is happening in the country. At the same time, it will also enhance and immediately start supporting the EOIR systems needs of the market.
Tell me a little bit about the major orders in the pipeline, and what is it that you foresee in terms of your order book, which I believe currently stands at about 550 crores?
It is in excess of 550 crores. The funnel is at least 2x in the pipeline, and the prospects are looking very, very good.
Okay, so the prospects are looking good. So does that mean your growth rate of over 40% will continue in FY24 as well? And since you talked about how this particular JV is also expected to help with respect to exports, what's the contribution that you're expecting from exports going forward?
So currently the EOIR systems requirements in the domestic market itself is very high. Currently, Controp is doing this business by themselves, which will now be done largely by the JV, because it will also satisfy the Make in India requirements. So the current Indian business will be our first target. The exports will be a natural progression from here on, and maybe in a couple of years you will find us starting doing large amount of exports using EOIR systems technology by Controp. So their existing customers abroad will be definitely be benefited by lower prices and better quality done in India.
Sure, but Amit, just coming back to the question regarding the entire company's growth, is 40% growth rate sustainable going forward? And drones was another area that you were looking at betting big on. What's the update with respect to how that is scaling up?
Looking at the kind of order book we have and the kind of funnel we have, 30 to 40% looks for the next 2 years is definitely looks much more than achievable. But what now starts contributing is not just the drones, but also the anti-drone subsidiary of ours, which will start growing. The drone technology and the drone subsidiary will start contributing from this financial year itself, where the anti-drone technologies subsidiary will start contributing from next year. So in the next 2 to 3 years, Paras will grow in its own domain. At the same time, the subsidiaries will start pitching in, and the target of both the subsidiaries to contribute will be in excess of 20 to 30%.
Okay, that's drone and anti-drone. I'm just going to go back to that export question. You did speak about your overall exports picking up. Currently, it's around 20% of your total revenue. How have exports fared in the quarter gone by? And can you just walk us through the revenue pie in terms of exports down the line?
Exports is a business which you would take, but currently our focus is on the domestic market. The order book that we have, the maximum share of the order book is from the domestic customers. The domestic market is at all-time high when it comes to opportunities that are lying in front of you. And I think any company in our place would have focused on the domestic market. The export market will open up, and our focus towards export will start growing in the coming years. Currently, whatever exports we are doing, they are coming as a natural business for us, and we are not having an acute focus on export as yet. the domestic markets are keeping us busy to a great extent.
Okay, fair enough. And what about the outlook on your margins? What are you targeting when it comes to the margin picture? Has the high input cost in any way impacted your margins?
The high input cost, if at all, at certain, because we are a project-oriented company, some levels it would have impacted on the EBITDA levels, but those are also marginal, 1 or 2% here and there. If you look at the overall margin portfolio, I think we are not only sustaining, but we are bettering by 1% or 2. So we will sustain our margins, and going forward, I think we should be able to slightly better it.
Since you pointed out, Amit, a couple of times that the domestic order booking is at all-time high level, a lot of prospects here. Do you have enough capacity on board to service all of these orders which are coming in? And what's the capex plan lined up for the next 12 to 24 months?
So we are also, in the last 3 to 5 years, we are also growing up the value chain, which means lower dependency on the capex and more dependency on the integration and looking at a product and a system level. So it does not put any pressure on our capex. We have very marginal capex, very minuscule capex plans in the coming years, and the scale up from whatever we have today, it's going to be huge. So we can cross a lot of revenues with the existing setup that we have.
Okay, and you spoke about growing your overall order book, that 30 to 40% revenue growth as well, very achievable. Can you take us through some of the recent orders in the pipeline and what is on the anvil?
So we have been doing a lot of work in the hyperspectral imaging. We have been doing a lot of work in the submarine periscopes. We have been doing a lot of work on the tank electronics. So all of these, the orders that we have on hand comprises of all of these. At the same time, there are newer opportunities which are coming our way. So those in terms of UIR systems, at the same time in terms of optics for various other applications. So all of that put together, the order book, which is looking in excess of 550 crores, is not just consolidated, but it also has a lot of improvement scope. The pipeline order book is also looking very promising. So good days are yet to come.
On that optimistic note, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for joining in. The